Still, I hopped up on the stool and dug my elbows into the slick iron surface of the bar top. Warehouse 27 was one of those trendy industrial places set inside an old warehouse that had once been used for freight storage. Everything was iron or steel, and every wall was covered in intricately designed graffiti. Not only would my mom kill me if she found out I was drinking, she'd kill me if she even knew I was here.
"What'll you have?"
The bartender strode up to the bar, giving both me and Bree a long stare before flipping 2 coasters onto the bar. He didn't look much older than us, his dark, shaggy hair falling into his eyes. I glanced at Bree and raised an eyebrow.
2 vodka and tonics?
She said with a smile and a confidence that suggested she'd ordered drinks at bars 1,000 times before. But that was all for show. She hadn't. We might live in the city that never sleeps, but we rarely stayed up past our bedtimes. The bartender nodded and grabbed some glasses from under the bar before he gave me a nod. His eyes locked on something behind me.
"Looks like you have an admirer."
An admirer? Was it that hooded guy from before? My heart lurched, and I slid my chin onto my shoulder to glance behind me. A tall figure in a deep green cloak now stood in the center of the dance floor, his eyes locked on my face. He wasn't dancing, a fact that made the chills sweep down my back again. For a moment, I thought it was the same guy, though his cloak was a different color. Plus, there was something strange about this one. A sheen of light whispered across his skin, almost as if he were glowing from the inside out. I blinked and shook my head. That was impossible. The club lights were playing tricks on my eyes. But when I lifted my gaze to the dance floor again, he was gone.
"Nora,"
my best friend said as she leaned her face close to mine, her breath a cloud of vodka and cigarette smoke.
"You okay?"
"Yeah, I just thought I saw something." The world seemed to tilt sideways, and my vision went blurry. Ears ringing and mouth dry, I drew quick breaths in through my nose. Everything around me was suddenly loud, 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 and the pulsing lights made my head spin. I pressed my hands against the bar top to hold myself steady, but that did nothing but launch a lump of nausea into my throat.
"Nora, what's wrong?"
My best friend's voice sounded so far away, as if she were on the other end of a broken cell phone. A hand curled around my arm, pulling me away from the bar. As soon as I'd made it 3 steps, my head began to clear, but the clammy sensation on my palms remained. Bree's head ducked to mine. Her grip stayed tight around my arm, and I could see now that she was pulling me in the direction of the women's restroom.
"What the hell's going on? Is it another one of those panic attacks?"
Yes. No. I don't know. For the past couple of weeks, I'd been experiencing increasingly overwhelming panic attacks. Or so the doctors said. Heart palpitations, nausea, clammy hands, blurry vision, shortness of breath. It all fit. The problem, to me at least, was that I never felt panicked when I had one of these so-called panic attacks. They happened for no discernible reason, at least that I could tell. One minute, I was fine. The next, I could barely see straight.
"Do you have your pills on you?"
she asked as she pushed open the grimy black door that led into the women's restroom. I wrinkled my nose at the smell, my eyes darting from the yellow sinks to the mound of wet, crumpled paper towels that were spilling from an overflowing trash can. "Yeah, I brought them just in case, but I can't manage to swallow them without some water." I pointed to the yellow sink. "And I'm not drinking from that." She gave a nod without a moment's hesitation.
"Okay, stay here and take some deep breaths. I'll get a glass of water from the bar."
She disappeared from the bathroom a moment later. Sighing, I leaned against the sink and stared at my reflection in the cloudy mirror. I looked about as good as I felt. There were dark circles under my eyes, and my complexion was so pale that my skin now matched my light blonde hair. Frankly, I looked like I'd seen a ghost that had been tormenting me for years. These panic attacks were starting to seriously suck ass, and the doctor had said I wouldn't improve until I figured out the trigger. She thought it might have something to do with my home life, but I wasn't home now. I hadn't even been thinking of my stepdad, much less feeling panicked about him. The only thing that could have set it off was the strange guy who had been watching me. The door pushed open, and my shoulders relaxed. Whether or not these were actual panic attacks.